So I'm so grateful to be here. I've missed you all so much. I feel like I haven't seen you near as much this last year, and I've had a really busy year and took on a lot more responsibility, so it's made it harder for me to get here. And I just want you to know it's not you, it's me, okay? Because I love you guys. And I'm so grateful for Cassidy and everything she does where I'm able to go online and see things when I'm not able to be here. So I just want to throw that out there. Thank you, Cassidy, for everything. So as my topic was, as we said earlier, reflect and rejoice, the closing of one chapter and the start of another. Getting to talk on the last Sunday of the year, kind of was a no-brainer to come up with the topic. But I didn't want it to be treated like that. I wanted it to be treated as something that still had a lot of meaning and value. Amy did a great job of kind of getting all those points out there that kind of go right into what I wanted to talk with you guys about. 2025, it was just another chapter in our story, right? We all do these chapters and they're full of lessons and experiences, and I like it when we look at it more like that than like a year, because I don't know about you guys, but these years fly by fast, like that, right? It's just like, and it's true what they say, the older you get, the faster it goes, because it really does. And so I feel like so much happens in a year, but yet it flies by. So it's easy for us to not really reflect or think about everything we did. Like, I don't know about you, but I can barely remember what I did last January. Seriously. But if I really sit down and think about it, I really reflect over the year, I can start to think about the things that I experienced. Last January, I decided I was going to start becoming more of a full-time caregiver for my brother. So that was a big change, it was a big decision, so I started kind of reflecting on that. What made me decide to make that step, and so, I kind of like going back and looking at each month and kind of really reflecting on what did I do that month, and how was I feeling that month. And so, I think it's important for us to focus on what brought us joy, because lots of little things brought us joy, like how many beautiful sunsets did I get to see in 2025? I got to see a lot. That's one of the wonderful things about being on the road all the time. You get to see a lot of sunsets. I got to go to a lot of really cool art exhibits. Thanks to my lovely friend Megan, I got to experience the Cultural Center in St. Peter's, which I had not really been to. So that was a new thing to me in 2025, and it's a cool place. People there are awesome. So it brought me a lot of joy to go to those events that they had there, and it made me realize I want to do more of that, So I like reflecting on the joys and then thinking about, okay, how can I get more of that in next year, right? Because I enjoyed that, and we really should be focusing on the things that bring us joy and multiplying that and having more of that, right? That seems like such a simple thing, but a lot of times we don't. We get so into our regular routines, and our routines don't necessarily bring us joy, they just kind of bring us, maybe a little contentment and just kind of comfort, right? Because it's normal, it's what we're used to. But, I read an article the other day that talked about, it really is true that time goes faster as you get older, because we tend to kind of get stuck in routines when we get older. And we're doing the same thing all the time. And we don't make new memories when we do that. And so if we're not making new memories, time literally does feel faster to us. So it said in the article that the best way to kind of counteract that, if you really want time to kind of slow down so you can savor it more, is you got to try new things. And you got to put yourself out there. And you got to go meet somebody new, you got to go on a new adventure, there's so many little new things you can do. Just break up that routine. Get out of it. Yeah, it feels comfortable, but are you getting joy from it? Probably not. So break that routine and go find some joy. Go find something new, something exciting. I feel like it lights something inside of you when you do that. It's also important to reflect on what brought you pain in the last year, because we're human, so we all experienced pain last year. We're always experiencing pain, unfortunately. It may not be directly related to us or our family, but just maybe what we're seeing in the world around us gives us pain. It makes us feel sad. It makes us sometimes feel like hopeless, you know, like how are we going to fix all of this? Like there's so much here to fix. How are we going to fix all this? So it's easy to kind of get into that feeling, but we need to reflect on that pain. What was it that really had us feeling that way? And can we deal with those pains differently maybe? Or what did we learn from those pains? You know, and so really taking time to focus on those things too, just because there's lessons there. And when we're focusing on joys and the pains, then we're focusing on feelings. And I'm a big follower of Abraham Hicks. Feelings are our guidance system. Feelings are what tells us if we're going the right direction. So if we focus on things that are giving us the joy, that's a feeling we want more of, so we want to go more that direction. If we reflect on the things that gave us a lot of pain and sorrow, then we want to figure out how we can change that path, you know. So it's all about our feelings. So really reflecting on what you felt this year. What were some of the feelings you had, and why did you have them? I think the more we can get in tune with our feelings, the more we acknowledge our feelings. I mean, that's a big thing that I've really been trying to do this year is I actually say, okay, anxiety, I hear you. I know you're there, but it's okay. We got this. And just doing that simple thing, all of a sudden I feel calmer. You know, it's because I'm acknowledging that anxiety is there. I'm acknowledging that stress is there. You know, for me, 2025, I had a lot of stress. And I ended up in the hospital with the highest blood pressure. I didn't even know you could have blood pressure that high. You know, so it was a little eye-opening for me, and it made me recognize that I have way more stress in my life than I realized. I was really good at masking it, I was really good at ignoring it, but internally my body was going, lady, it's there, and we don't like it, and you need to do something about it. And so, I remember I was talking to Christine, and I was like, you know what, I was doing her hair, you know, we have our wonderful talks while I'm doing her hair. And I'm like, you know what? I'm no longer going to be a victim to this. I'm going to take charge of my body, my life, and take care of myself. Like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. You know, I'm not just going to sit by and be like, let stress, kill me. I'm not going to do that. So I said, it's time for me to step up and decide that I'm going to be proactive in my life and do things that are going to make my body happy. And one of the coolest things that I've developed because of that is I have a whole new relationship with my body. I actually, I do a lot of reading science. I love science, so I'm always reading all these science articles, and they're telling us stuff we already know about how our consciousness and our body's listening to us. We all already knew that, but it's kind of nice to have a reminder of how much our body listens to us, how much our cells listen to us. I love that stuff. I love thinking about how we have this whole ecosystem going on. We're just kind of riding along with it, but we need to acknowledge it, and we need to talk to it. So I've always been mean to my body, When I look back, I think of all the things I've said about, are you kidding me? So now I'm just like, hey body, I just want you to know, I think you're awesome. I appreciate everything you do. Like, I take advantage of either when I'm in my room getting ready in the morning by myself, or when I'm in the shower, and I'll just be like, hey body, I just want you to know, you did a great job today. Sometimes I feel silly when I do it, but it's amazing how my body's been responding. My metabolism all of a sudden is starting to work better, and it's been more about me just going, hey, you're doing a great job, and thank you for everything, giving it gratitude. And it's just changed my whole perspective on my body, but I had to go through, pain of sitting in an emergency room for, 7 hours and, being stuck with a bunch of needles, and I had to go through a lot to get to the point of, I'm going to change my relationship with my body. So, it's another way I can reflect on some suffering I went through and how I learned from it and grew quite a bit from it, in just that little experience. And so, that's kind of what I want to touch on with reflection. The next thing is rejoicing, and that's my favorite. Because I really, really, really think we should be rejoicing. Let's rejoice the next few days we have left of 2025 for each day that we woke up, for each day that we were able to go out and be a human and do this human experience. Because this is not easy. This is hard. And even when you think you got it figured out, even when you understand a little bit more about who you are and what you are, and you get it, Doesn't mean it makes it easy all the time. Doesn't mean, you're not going to still struggle with this human experience. So I think we should rejoice every day that we make it as a human. I think we should rejoice every person that we connected with this year. Because we connect, I know you guys have connected, just coming here, we connect with each other, but everywhere we go, we're connecting with people. That's something to rejoice, because that's one of the biggest things we're here for. We're here to connect with each other. So every time we connect with someone, we should rejoice all those connections, kind of think back of all the people that you got to spend time with this year. I rejoice on the delicious food I got to eat this year. I got to try several amazing restaurants, and I also got a little obsessed with baking shows, so I started doing some baking, and so now I've been making some delicious food, and I just want to rejoice that. I got to eat at your restaurant this year, and it was excellent, and it's just, eating is something that you can get joy out of, right? I mean, there's a reason why we have the ability to taste things. So you can get a lot of joy out of enjoying a delicious meal and then thinking about how hard somebody worked to prepare that meal and the love that goes into it. I try to put love and intention to anything I cook or prepare. And I know my body appreciates that, Rejoicing maybe all the great books you read this year or all the great art you saw. Like, there's so many things we can rejoice. Sure, we can sit and talk about all the horrible things that was going on around us in the world, and then we're stealing joy from ourselves. So we need to still focus on and rejoice the little things that we got to enjoy the whole entire year. And so when we rejoice those wonderful things from the year, and we reflect on how we felt throughout the year, there are definitely going to be some things that are going to stand out that we need to release. I love how Kay says, don't say you're losing weight, you're releasing weight. I'm like, okay, or instead of saying I'm losing this, I'm releasing what no longer serves me. I no longer need this, so I'm letting it go, I'm releasing it. And there's always going to be things from a year that you've had that you're going to want to release. Something you let go. Maybe it's anger. Maybe somebody made you mad this year. Maybe somebody just did you wrong. Maybe there's just something you're holding on to, a grudge. There needs to be some forgiveness there. Maybe just letting some people off the hook, letting go of some expectations that we put on people. It's so easy to do. And, reminding ourselves that we're all unique, we're all different, and no two of us have the same perspective. So we got to let go of some of that stuff we harbor with people that think differently than us and have different opinions than us. We got to learn to let go of some of that anger and releasing it so that we can go into this new year with this open heart. I love the idea of going in with an open heart. Like, I'm ready to love. I'm prepared to love every person I meet this year. Now that's a challenge. And it's going to take some effort. But I like starting my year off with that intention. Your word, intention. I think I'm going to still think about what my word's going to be, but I like intention. But yeah, having that intention of I'm going to try to show love and give love to every person I meet. No matter who they are, where they're from, what they think, no matter what words come. I'm a hairdresser. I've heard some pretty some things where you're just like, did you really just say that? But we got to dig into that compassion. We have a lot of compassion that we can tap into. And we have to, I'm really good at going, well, maybe they just weren't taught how to talk. Maybe their mother didn't show them something, or maybe they didn't go to a good school, or I don't know. I try to find a reason, not an excuse, but a reason why that maybe they said that thing. And I just forgive them for it. Like, they just didn't know better, and it makes it a lot easier for me to have compassion for that person. So release those things, because when you're releasing these things you've been holding on to, it's for you. It's giving you freedom. It's freeing yourself from these things that are weighing on you. I want you to go into 2026 feeling lighter. So let some of that stuff go. It's not serving you. It's not going to get you anywhere in 2026. So we're going to step into it with our open heart, ready to give and receive love, grace, compassion, and being open to finding connection with all other humans. That's my challenge for you. Man, that's a challenge. But it's one we should be really striving for, because we're here to connect and co-create. So we need the connection so that we can co-create with each other. So we got to stop letting the other stuff get in the way and finding ways to connect. Releasing the tension between opposing opinions. There is a force out there trying to separate us, and we all see it. It's not hard to see, you know. And as long as we participate, we will be separated. But we don't have to participate. We can be rebels. So let's go into 2026, let's be rebels. Let's be rebels of love. Let's go out there and say, you know what, I don't care what you guys, no, we're not going to argue about this or that. I'm just going to love you, you're just going to love me. Let's quit letting them divide us. It doesn't have to be. And we all know it feels weird, we don't like it, and we don't like having this animosity between us and others. That's not how we're meant to be. So let's let it go. Let's let them quit trying to get in our heads and convince us that this is how we should treat each other. We need to be done with that. And so find common ground and seek connection with others. There, I guarantee you, if the only thing you can find in common with them is that they're another human, that's enough. Because just knowing that the human experience is a hard thing for everyone should be enough for you to connect with another human. That's all we need, because that's really what it comes down to. Getting down to the brass tacks, we're all human, right? So just look at it that way. And then lastly, go into the year with a mind full of wonder. I want you to tap into your child, find little you, and look at the world ahead with that wonder. Let go of the expectation. You know, you might have some stuff planned for 2026, trips or events. Don't put such hard, rigid expectations on those. Just go at them with, like, wonder how this is going to go. And I know some people that's hard to hear. That's something I feel very blessed with, that I can be a planner, but at the same time I can be like, let's see where this goes. Can't wait to see how this turns out, you know? But that's how a kid is. A kid's never going in here going, boy, I hope this all goes exactly how I planned. No, he's just walking in there like, whoa, what is this? You know, so find your childlike wonder as you go into 2026 and be curious about what the year is going to bring. Instead of setting these hard resolutions or these expectations, just go into it with this wonder of a child, because you all have that child in you. Your child never left. It's still there. That's why I love spending time with children, because they show you, they remind you, you know. But you can tap into it. Go play with something. Find one of your old toys you like. Go find a game you used to play. You know, I played Candyland the other day. You know, whatever is going to get you to tap into being a kid again, so you can tap into that curiosity and that wonder of a child. Because that's the best way to enter a new chapter in our path here, is with curiosity and wonder. So that's what I wish for all of you as you go into 2026. And I thank you for letting me speak with you this year.